if I can speak to that real quick. So from the ACC perspective, the reason I chose to pursue it is because I'm called to coach. It's a vocation for me. So for me, it was about um, getting a structured education in what coaching is. It wasn't so much about the credential, although I think that 5, 10 years from now, it's going to be critical to have a credential if you want to work in organizations, if anyone does. But it was about the structure that that gave me, right? It was, it was like going to school to become a teacher or a carpenter or any other skill that we value and have in our society. Why not also learn the skills of coaching from a structured system? I don't have to do the accreditation. But as Jesse Lynn mentioned earlier, there's a significant difference between 3P facilitator coach training and pure coach training. They are quite distinct from one another. So for me, the benefit of it, at the ACC level was the structure, the education, that they're really getting clear on what coaching is and what it is not. So for me, I found the more I came to understand what it is, the more gently I could bend rules when it was appropriate to do so and know that I was doing that. Right. So I could take the coaching hat off, ask for permission to inject a piece of information. So I can do that deliberately rather than fluking into that and then having the conversation fall apart.
That, by the way, is excellent. That last part in there, which is sort of once you know the distinctions, you're no longer bound by them. So if you know the distinction, see, because here's the truth, there actually are no rules, right? So there actually are no rules. Now that's sort of the big joke when I'm training the managers, because when I work with leaders and managers, I do that. Look, there are rules. You got to follow the rules. And if you follow the rules, after you do that and you actually show that you can do that, you can lead a conversation staying on their agenda, not steer them off to your solution, right? If you show me you can do that, okay, now let's have a conversation about how you throw these rules out. like now that you actually have the skill to do it, now let's have the conversation about how do you break the rules. And this was then a very important distinction. If you don't understand the rules, why the rules are there, why that competency is the way that it is, and I'm in my MCC is where most became clear, had not become clear before that. But there are implications to every rule you break, because there is a reason it is there. And when you break it, there's a consequence. And you don't realize it, except you will realize it as time goes on. So you start to do minor things like, oh, I'm going to give them this answer. I'm going to give them a bit of advice. Something as simple as I'm going to interrupt the client. Simple little things like this, that all of this communicates something. You are communicating something beyond these words, beyond what you're doing. You are impacting the relationship. There is a very clear message that one of you knows more than the other. There's a very clear message happening in this space that one of you is wiser than the other. So there is an implication that starts to happen, and you don't realize that it does because it seems so minor, right? And I didn't know there was a rule. I had no idea there was a rule. And so, but that the reason the distinction is there in the first place is it's grounded in something really, 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 really important about the way this interaction goes. And when you get started on the journey, you are so clunky that the way you do it is very awkward. It's like you're using training wheels. Oh, they told me that I'm not allowed to tell anything and I can only ask questions. And so it's this clunky little rule that you seem to be following, except there is a reason behind it. There is some reason it's grounded in. And what you find is that what grounds it in pure coaching is the truth we know from the three principles. There is a harmony amongst these things. And what was discovered in three principles about human beings, there are people who have taken it into the application of what a conversation is like and how an interaction is. If you really were grounded in the truth of 3P, this is what it looks like in form, right? And so that is the benefit, the advantage of sort of harmonizing pure coaching, mastery of coaching, with a strong grounding in 3P, and it will make you way more effective than any other coach. Is the
Yeah,
combination.
the grounding is almost a secret weapon, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.